I want you to think about what happens when someone wins the lottery with no financial literacy. They get the money, real money, more money than they've ever seen. And within 5 years, statistically, a significant portion of lottery winners are worse off financially than when they were before they won. Not because the money's not real, it's because they don't have a system to manage the money once they have it. Going viral without a marketing ecosystem is the exact same problem. The attention comes, and it's real. People see you, and then, because there's no system to catch them, warm them up, convert them, keep them, the attention disappears. And sometimes you are worse off than before, because now people have a vague memory of you that they can't quite place, which is harder to overcome than being unknown. Today we're talking about going viral, what it actually takes, what the science says, and most importantly, what has to be in place before viral traffic is worth anything at all. My name is Colin Charles, this is Enoch Marketing, and let's get into it. So we're going to talk about the structure of virality. Jonah Berger is someone that we've discussed a few times already. If you go back to episode 8, we talk about him in terms of social currency. And then in episode 10, we talk about him with word of mouth. Today, he's the center of our conversation. Because here's the thing that most people get wrong about going viral. They think that it's random, lucky, that it's something that just happens to certain content and not to others without any real explanation. Berger spent years studying why things spread, and his conclusion is that virality is not random. It has a structure, and there are 6 principles that make content more likely to be shared, and he refers to it as steps, S-T-E-P-P-S. He says, virality isn't born, it's made. And the 6 principles that drive sharing are as consistent as the laws of physics. Content that spreads almost always hits most of them. 6 principles. We're going to go through all of them, and they are social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and story. So, let's get into the first one. Social currency. People share things that make them look good. They reflect who they are and who they want to be seen as. If sharing your content makes someone look smart, inspiring, or a part of something worth belonging to, they'll share it. In the case of a gym, this is like a PR video, a transformation story. That 5 a.m. class that looks like it's the most alive group of people that anyone has ever seen. Because 5 a.m. dudes are crazy, and I own that. Sharing that says, this is who I am, this is my community. Triggers. Content that is connected to something people encounter frequently in a daily life gets shared more. A trigger reminds people of the content, and they share it again. For a CrossFit gym, posting content around Monday morning motivation, the new year, or open season, these are triggers. The content gets seen, and every time the trigger appears, again, the audience thinks of the gym. Here's one, easy, emotion. Emotion is the content that makes people feel something get shared. Not just positive emotions, high arousal emotions, awe, excitement, anger, anxiety. These drive sharing. Low arousal emotions like sadness and contentment do not. That's why you see such polarizing things on the internet. For a gym, the coach who stays late to help a member hit a goal is the member who breaks down after hitting a heavy lift they have been chasing for a year, or the community that shows up for each other in a way that makes strangers wish they had that too. High arousal, highly shareable. The first P is public. Behavior that gets visible gets imitated. People need to be seen. People need attention. That's part of the game. If people can see others doing something, wearing something, going somewhere, posting something, they are more likely to do it themselves. Make your product visible. For a gym, class photos posted publicly, members tagged in gyms in their own posts, a branded t-shirt someone wears to a grocery store, the more visible the community is in public, the more it triggers the Ash conformity effect from episode 10, which is social proof. People see others doing it and they want in. The second P is practical value. People share useful things. Information that helps someone do something better, faster, more easily gets passed along because sharing it makes the sharer look helpful and informed. For a gym, this is like a quick coaching tip, a nutrition breakdown, a mobility drill, a 3-minute explanation of how to improve your clean. Content that teaches something specific and actionable spreads because there's a practical value to the person who receives it. And lastly, stories. We've talked about storytelling before and how important stories are, especially when it comes to emotions. Information travels better inside of a story. People do not share facts, they share narratives. And a story with a character, a struggle, and a resolution is infinitely more shareable than a list of features or a statement of credentials. For a gym, we're going to stay away from this. Not this. Our gym has certified coaches and great programming, but you want something that says, here's the story of a member who came in and 3 years ago not knowing what a deadlift was and they just completed their first open. That story carries facts inside of it and it spreads. 6 principles. The content that hits all 6 goes viral. The content that hits 3 or 4 spreads meaningfully. The content that hits none gets posted, gets forgotten, and poor post Pete boosts it for $50 and gets 47 likes from people in other countries. And here's the critical point of understanding. The model, steps, helps you create content that is more likely to spread. And it does not guarantee that the spread benefits your business. Because for the spread to benefit you, something else has to be true first. Before we get into the next part, we're going to go into viral traffic that hits the wrong stage. There was a post that I saw recently. Oh man, it was because people post things that are not postable and should not be posted. And forgive me for this being lewd. It's not our brand, but I will quote what the lady said. She was posting about how she put a stick of butter up her ass in hopes that when she pooped, it would come out to be garlic butter. Why? And I want you to think about that. First off, why did you post that? Second off, where does it fall with all of these things? It definitely drives an emotion. And that arousal emotion is actually disgust. Then there's the practical effect. When it seems weird, because that's not practical. What the practical effect is, the sharer is now providing something to the person they're sharing it to, which is something to consider as well. We oftentimes talk about practical effect in terms of, hey, this is helpful to me. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes the practical effect is, I found something that's so extreme, I want to share it. That benefits the sharer as the gatherer of information. Furthermore, it's a story, right? You don't get the beginning and end of the story, but you know exactly what's happening. Right, and then that tells you enough to actually pull a person in. Then it's public. It shouldn't be, but it's public. And I really wish that it wouldn't. And the thing of it is that people inherently know that these things will get attention. And they will be shared. And that's why they say outlandish things like that. Where did the garlic come from? Or they'll say something that is inappropriate about their family. This is why oversharing works. It hits all of these things and we begin to reshare them. Now that you have the framework, you can break down any viral post that you've seen as to why it is important. Now, to continue to the next part of our video. Viral traffic that hits the wrong stage. We talked about Eugene Schwartz and his awareness ladder back in episode 3. There are the 5 stages of getting people to buy your product. They have to be unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and then most aware. And here's what viral content almost always does. It reaches stage 1 and stage 2 audiences. It reaches people who are unaware and problem aware. People who have never heard of you. People who did not know that they needed what you offer until 30 seconds ago when they watched your first video and felt something. That is awareness on steroids, which sounds incredible until you remember one thing. Awareness campaigns are not supposed to convert. They are supposed to introduce. So if your landing page or your website or your follow-up system is all built for warm, informed, ready-to-buy audiences, and suddenly 10,000 cold strangers arrive from a viral video, your conversion rate is going to be near zero. Again, that's my problem, or at least it was. And you've paid for their bandwidth and you got nothing back. The traffic came, the system wasn't ready for it. A lottery win, no financial literacy. Also, a side note on this, just for your edification. If you are trying to go viral and you do something that is off color or risque in order to gain more views, understand that is your first impression. So be careful with what you do. Now, I'm at this point in the story where I get to be somewhat selfish, maybe. My thoughts. We had a video once, and I'll just go ahead and talk about it. We have a competitor named Lasso. Lasso also does digital marketing for CrossFit gyms. They have a framework that they sell, and it's not quite as in-depth as this is, where we're making references to books and whatnot, but I digress. The aim of the video we created was to take a shot at Lasso by having my friend Aaron dress up like a cowboy and then dance around in the background. So, my man Aaron, great guy. He's actually very funny, and you'll get to like him when you get to meet him. And you will if you follow this channel for long enough. He decided to take the bottom of his shirt and flip it inside out to make like a bra. And he was like dancing and strutting and like smelling my ear, which was weird. And it ended up becoming the most viral video we had. And it's funny, right? And it's entertaining. It's great. He showed up and he played that cowboy role. It was slightly broke back, but he did get the attention. He did something that was funny. It was something that grabs people's attention. It was raunchy, it was silly, and people loved it. They thought it was hilarious. They shared it, they commented, they tagged their friends. And for about 48 hours, that video was the most attention that we had ever received. And then, it was gone. Nothing changed. There was no inquiries, no bookings, no person who watched Aaron in his shirt bra and thought, you know what? I should hire these people to do my marketing. So, it does serve a purpose. It gets out there. It gets people's attention. And that's important, particularly when you're going from unaware to problem aware. It's essential. But we didn't ride it all the way into where we're getting people into where they're ready to buy. Does that make sense? The content hit a few of Berger's principles. It had emotion. It was public. It had a story of sorts. If you count Aaron's transformation from a person to a cowboy bra, that's something like a narrative arc. But it had no practical value for a CrossFit gym owner. It had no trigger connected to their daily life. And the social currency it gave people was, it would look at this funny thing, not look at this expert I trust with my marketing. And even if it had all 6 of the steps, STEPPS, principles perfectly executed, there wasn't the system in place to be able to catch the people and bring them to the next level of our funnel. So, it doesn't work. There's no retargeting pixel. There was no Google tag. There was no landing page that we attached to that. There's no follow-up sequence. It was just a funny video. And a bunch of people enjoyed it and they forgot about us when it was over. Attention is not acquisition. Attention is just attention. And attention without a system to capture it is exactly like winning the lottery with no financial literacy. You had it and then you didn't. and you're not entirely sure what happened in between. Imagine that. You could have been the hawk to a girl. Who knows what happened to her? Now, I'm going to talk about a idea that I was ready to run with because I'm a bit of an optimist, but concerning a company that will remain nameless. Essentially, this company has a premise in which they will get you a certain number of views or your money back. Now, that's awesome. I could always stand for 1,000,000 views, and I was ready to pay $30,000 to get a million views, but I want to address something that we talked about early in the series. We discussed the company that promises a certain number of views. They're going to make you go viral. They'll get you in front of everybody. That's important, but I want to be precise about what that means and what that doesn't mean. This company is 100% selling reach, and I love that. And reach is real. Views are real. Getting people in front of more people is a legitimate service. That's awesome. But here's the question that matters. Reach to whom? And then what? So if the audience receives that the reach is not for CrossFit gym owners, or at minimum people who might become CrossFit gym owners, then the views are just noise. And I'll say that slightly in a different way. Our target audience is CrossFit gym owners. I don't need grandmas in the knitting club knowing about the offerings of Enoch marketing. We're not targeting them. We're targeting CrossFit gym owners. To them, it's just noise. And every time we get noise over there, they're receiving that noise, we are losing money. We bought impressions from people who would never hire grannies, who's never going to hire us, and never walk into the gym. And that's why choosing your audience is so important. And we talked about that a few episodes ago. You have to know your audience. And if your audience is right, even if your audience is right, and even if every single one of those views comes from somebody who fits your ideal customer profile perfectly, and the ecosystem is not in place to catch them, warm them, and convert them, the views evaporate. So these things, they really do stack on top of one another. And that's the gap that no one really wants to talk about. Everyone wants to go viral. Very few people have built the means to leverage going viral. And the companies that sell virality without talking about the ecosystem are just selling lottery tickets. Expensive lottery tickets. And they're not wrong that someone wins. They're just not telling you about the financial literacy part. So you have to build the ecosystem first. The reach is only valuable when someone is there to receive your message. So again, going viral, top, bottom of the ladder, we have to work all the way through it. You have to be specific about who you're trying to reach. You have to represent the niche within the niche. You have to realize the story, and you have to be able to execute what type of campaign at what level. And they're still going to try to sell you for being viral. You're only getting the tip of the iceberg if you're going to do that. Which leads me to why you should care. So let's talk about your gym specifically. Before you spend a single dollar trying to go viral, before you hire someone to edit your videos for maximum reach, before you boost a post and hoping that it breaks through, or before you even buy into one of these playbooks of 50 viral topics that will ensure that people sell your stuff, here's the checklist. Everything on this list has to be true before viral traffic is worth anything to your business. Your landing page needs to pass the coherence test. One clear headline, one clear call to action. Something that loads fast. It has to work on mobile, and if a stranger lands on it, they need to know within 10 seconds who you are, who you serve, and what happens next. If that's not true, your viral traffic lands on broken pages and bounces. Your metapixel needs to be installed and firing. Every person who visits your site from a viral video gets added to your retargeting audience automatically. Without the pixel, which is for Meta, or the tag for Google, that traffic passes through and disappears. With it, you can follow them across the internet with a message for weeks, and all of those people who followed you are now in your funnel and flywheel. If not, they are just gone like the wind. Your Google My Business listing needs to be complete and have recent reviews. Someone is going to see your viral video, get curious, and they're probably going to search your gym on Google. What do they find then? And if the answer is 3 reviews and a listing that hasn't been updated since 2020, the video did the work and the listing undid it. Your Instagram profile needs to make a case in 30 seconds or less. Viral traffic goes to your profile, your bio, your highlights, your last 9 posts. Do they tell a coherent story? And do they show someone who you are and who you serve? Or do they show a random assortment of content with no through line? Do you have a follow-up system? The DMs get answered within hours or days. They should be hours. If someone reaches out after seeing a viral video and gets silence for 72 hours, they've already moved on. The speed of response is part of your brand story. Your offer needs to be clear. This is a long list, by the way. Your offer needs to be clear. What do you want the viral traffic to do? Do they want to book a free class? Are they booking a call? Do they download something? It needs to be one thing. Specific, easy to find, and if you don't know what you want them to do, they're not going to know either. That's the checklist. 6 things. None of them require a big budget. All of them require intention. Now, we do build your funnel so you have a landing page. A landing page is different than a website. A website is like your storefront online. A landing page guides someone to do a very specific thing. And all of that happens under the first 2 levels. All of those things happen after they've been introduced to you and they've realized that there's a problem. Now, once those 6 things are true, then you pursue reach. Then you create content that's engineered to hit Berger's STEPPS principles. Then viral traffic is not just a lottery win when it's managed. It is a managed event that feeds into a system built to benefit from it. The goal is not to go viral. The goal is to build a gym that is ready when it happens. Because when your infrastructure is solid, even modest organic reach compounds. Every view feeds the algorithm. Every share brings you new people to the top of your funnel. Every new person gets warmed up through the sequence that we built in episode 3. That flywheel that we discussed in episode 2 only spins if it's already built. Viral traffic is just another motion to turn it. And the wind only moves things that are built to receive it. And then, of course, there's Pete. Poor Pete. Poor post Pete. He went viral once. This is not somebody that I actually know. Poor Pete went viral once. It was a raw, genuine, emotional video of one of his members hitting a huge PR. And it was real. She had come a very long way. And honestly, I'm very proud of her as well. But it was moving, it hit emotion, it had social currency, the stories from Berger's steps, and it spread. 40,000 views, thereabout. 800 new Instagram followers overnight. Pete's website had not been updated in about 4 years. His Google listing had 4 reviews, and he did not check his DMs on the weekends. Yikes. His landing page had no call to action. His Instagram bio said, "Best CrossFit gym in the area," with no further information. One of 40,000 people who watched that video. Of the 40,000 people who watched that video, 12 visited his website. 0 booked a call. Pete looked at 40,000 views and called it a win. That was that vanity mistake that we talked about earlier. 40,000 views. Called it a win. Pete bought a frame for the screenshot of his analytics and he put it on the wall of his office. Pete had won the lottery. But Pete had no financial literacy. And Pete still has that framed screenshot. Because he thought 40,000 views, that's basically famous. Pete, you were briefly visible to 40,000 people who immediately forgot that you existed. That's not fame. That's a billboard on a highway with no exit ramp. So let's build that exit ramp first. So, to recap, Berger's step framework: social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories. Virality has structure, and you can engineer content that is more likely to spread. Schwartz told us that viral traffic hits stage 1 and 2 audiences. It's awareness on steroids, which only helps if the system underneath it is built to receive and convert cold traffic. Going viral is not a strategy. It is an event. It is like winning the lottery, and what happens after depends entirely on what you built before. Build the ecosystem. Pass the checklist. Then chase the reach. In that order, every time. On the next episode, we're going to talk about AI marketing tools, why they are powerful and why they are dangerous without the fundamentals. And what Pete does with ChatGPT, that does concern me and should concern all of us. If you're finding value in these videos and you're noticing that they're stacking up, subscribe. Share this video. Comments are open. We do check those. Contact us at enochmarketing.com. You can find us on Instagram. Book a call with us if you're ready to build an ecosystem that makes your reach worth having. I'm Colin Charles. This is Enoch Marketing, and we'll talk soon.